News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
KBNU News Time is 4:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by U&I Furniture. The Utah Department of Health today reports 1,715 new positive cases of coronavirus since Thursday. That includes 115 in Cache, Box Elder, and Rich counties. There have been 510,209 positive cases since the start of the outbreak. 11 more Utahns died of COVID-19 in the past 24 hours, and there have been 2,943 coronavirus deaths since the start of the pandemic. UDOH announced that in the last 28 days, people who are unvaccinated are at 5.9 times greater risk of dying from COVID-19, 7.3 times greater risk of being hospitalized, and 6.5 times greater risk of testing positive for COVID-19 than vaccinated individuals. The Utah Department said today that 580 Utahns are hospitalized with coronavirus, 14 more than on Thursday. 214 of those are in intensive care, which is 3 more than were reported on Thursday. Since the start of the pandemic, total COVID hospitalizations now number 22,222. The total northern Utah case count has reached 27,691, while 26,263 are listed as totally recovered, and 1,245 in the Bear River District have been hospitalized because of COVID-19 during the pandemic. KBNU News Time is 4:06. KBNU weather for tonight. Partly cloudy skies, patchy frost after midnight, low in the lower 30s, and then partly cloudy in the morning, then clearing, patchy frost in the morning, high temperature in the lower 70s, sunny and mid-70s on Sunday. It's been 71, it's 70 right now at KBNU. KBNU weather brought to you by Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology. Bring back the sounds you've been missing. Schedule a free hearing evaluation with Dr. Paul Daines at Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Want to improve the look and comfort of your home? See all the possibilities at U&I Furniture. Update your mattress and sleep better tonight on a Therapeutic Queen Comfort Top mattress for $4.99. U&I is also a full-line Maloof dealer. Add a Maloof adjustable base, 4 style choices there. In U&I's dining room section, lots of different brands with something always new to see. One popular set with a table and 4 chairs, $649. And for the family or living room, all kinds of fun new sofa loves and sectionals. If it's in stock or it's in the showroom, it's ready to take home. There's always a better buy at U&I Furniture, downtown Logan.
KBNU News Time is 4:08. Sherwood Hills, a once pristine hotel location nestled close to the Wellsville Mountains in one of the narrowest and steepest ranges in the Rockies, may soon become a 130-home subdivision reaching across both sides of Highway 8991. The new name for the subdivision could be Bridle Path Estates if approved. The developer for the new Bridle Path Estates is Reeves & Associates, located in Riverdale, and they've been around for several decades developing subdivisions. They have presented preliminary plans and aerial photographs to Wellsville Planning and Zoning and City Council members. Wellsville City Manager Scott Wells said the new subdivision has not passed the final approval yet. He said there are 3 levels of approval: concept, preliminary, and then final approval. The developers have only had their concept approved by the Planning and Zoning and City Council. The preliminary approval has not been submitted yet. Reeves & Associates still have several things to do before it can get preliminary approval. And the Weber County Sheriff's Office announced Thursday that after over 24 hours of intense searching for a missing man in the hills above Ogden, the man was found alive. Fox 13 reports the man in his mid-30s was reported missing on Tuesday at about 7 p.m. The report detailed that he was not dressed for cold weather conditions, and he was believed to be in the hills above 27th Street in Ogden. It's believed that the man spent 2 nights in the cold weather without proper gear before he was rescued. Rescue crews searched through the area for more than 24 hours and eventually found the man near Milan's Peak. The identity of the man, as well as his condition when he was found, was not available. He was taken to the hospital for further medical attention. KVNU News Time is 4:10. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
For the people, weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Hi, Cache Valley. It's Chris from Al's. 100 years ago, my grandpa Al, after moving from Mexico, fulfilled his dream by opening a little bike and fishing shop in downtown Logan. That first week must have been exciting. They took in a whopping $100. Grandpa Al loved the outdoors and helping his friends in Cache Valley. In fact, he bragged he knew every family that lived in Logan, and they knew Al. He was passionate about great service. Whether you're bragging about that big buck, lamenting about the fish that got away, or fixing your bike, Al's has always been the place. In the blink of an eye, 100 years has passed, and our mission is still the same. Just like Al wanted, Al's is still the place to get the gear you need and enjoy the outdoors in the greatest place on earth, Cache Valley. From the Al Sporting Goods family, we would like to say thank you. We wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the support of our many friends, customers, and employees. Please join us this week for our 100th year anniversary celebration, including free giveaways, special deals, and Lee's Donuts this Saturday. Again, thanks, Cache Valley. Go Aggies.
Do the news headlines or those strangely vacant grocery store shelves give you that quiet sense that it's time to prepare? But some emergency food storage can be so costly, and you wonder, will my family actually eat this? Or will it still taste fresh when we need it? At Wheatland Seed, we provide families real food, properly packaged, so you can use it every day or store it for up to 25 years. Foods that are affordable, nutritious, and taste great, like wheat, rice, oats, sugar, and beans. Come check out the great sale going on now, like premium baking wheat, 25 pounds for just $19. Order online for local pickup or for home delivery at wheatlandseed.com. That's wheatlandseed.com.
Friday night, it's the Aggies and BYU. Rivalry games are the best. Show your Aggie support by wearing Aggie apparel from Locker 42. The best-dressed Aggie fans shop Locker 42's big selection of Aggie golf shirts and T-shirts. With cool temperatures Friday night, you'll stay warm and look good in a Locker 42 Aggie jacket or Aggie hoodie. Locker 42 has a big selection of Aggie hats. It's the place true Aggies buy their gear. Locker 42. Shop either location, 1430 North Main next to Little Caesars, and the flagship store at 36 South Main. Locker 42.
Election fraud, biological weapons poisoning, loss of religious liberty. With everything going on in the country, isn't it about time somebody did something? It's time for We the People to act. Join other true conservatives and world-renowned speakers at the We Can Act Liberty Conference in Salt Lake City, sponsored by Lime Justice. Join General Flynn, Katie Hopkins, Senator Borelli, and more at the We Can Act Liberty Conference on October 22nd and 3rd at the Salt Palace. Get your tickets at WeCanAct.net or text WeCan to 53445. This message paid for by Lime Justice.
If you think it's expensive to hire a professional, just wait until you hire an amateur.
Why the heck is the roof leaking? Larry, you said you got it fixed.
I thought it was fixed, Donna. Everything was fine until it started raining.
Larry, that's the point of fixing the roof, is so we can actually live here when it's stormy outside.
This is David with Roof Rescue. Our experienced roofing team is tried and true and will fix your roof guaranteed. Visit roofrescueusa.com to schedule your free roof inspection. Roof Rescue, providing watertight peace of mind.
News Talk KVNU will bring you the complete coverage of General Conference for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The conference sessions will air Saturday from 10 till 12, 2 till 4, and 6 till 8. Also Sunday from 10 till 12 and 2 till 4. Listen live at 102 FM, 610 AM, and online at kvnutalk.com. Also on the KVNU mobile app. General Conference is provided as a public service of News Talk KVNU, the voice of Northern Utah.
I've got a math question for you. When you add tolerance, subtract prejudice, and multiply efforts to treat one another with respect, what do you get? Less division. And school sports have it down to a science. Looking for an example of what can happen when we realize there's more that unites us than divides us? Look no further than high school sports in Utah.
This message presented by the Utah High School Activities Association and the Utah Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
You've worked hard, you've paid your dues, but now you're paying over $1,700 a year in Medicare. That was me, until a friend told me about benefitscheckup.org, a free website from the National Council on Aging. It helped me sign up for the Medicare Savings Program, and now those dollars are back in my pocket, giving me some peace of mind during COVID-19. Benefitscheckup.org. You've earned this. This message is supported by the Administration for Community Living.
For the people.
We are waiting with bated breath for news from the Cash Republican Party meeting an executive committee tonight.
With Jason Williams.
And I'm really excited about this next segment. We have two guests here in studio. We're going to talk about something that we've talked about many times here on the show, but from a bit of a different angle.
Weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Friday, October 1st. September, done and gone. Thank you for joining us. A special kind of 2-hour movie show. Andy Morgan will be here in just a bit to join us in hour 1 of today's show instead of hour 2. That is because at 5:30 today, for you sports fans, Aggie pregame starts. Al Lewis getting some extra time in this week with a early start time for the USU game. And so we're going to offer him up half an hour of our show time. Al Lewis and Aggie pregame will be starting at 5:30 on the nose this evening. And so we invited Andy to come in a bit early, and he's on his way now. Traffic out there, though, man, it was crazy on the roadways today. Keep it calm, people. I saw some near road rage incidents. I saw some people doing things just to be mean to other drivers. And this was all just, driving around town here today. I don't even want to know what it's like out on the freeways if everybody's acting that way here in town. So be careful. We are beyond what is known as the 100 deadliest days of summer here in Utah, which was deadlier than most in recent years at least. But still a lot of, it's nice weather. It's, currently almost 72 degrees here at the station right now. And people, I think, looking to get out for one last weekend. Friday afternoons, always pretty crowded, especially on Main Street this time of day here in Logan. But, a lot of traffic, and it seemed to me everyone was driving pretty aggressively, which, I don't know. I kind of chuckle to myself when you see somebody driving in a hurry and they're weaving in and out of cars, and you watch all the stress and the effort they're putting into that, and you probably sweat on their forehead, their blood pressure's up, and they're panicked and yelling at everyone, and then you come up on them at a red light, and they at most are a car or two in front of you. All of that work, all of that effort, all of that risk, all of that elevated blood pressure and stress on their heart, and they're 2 cars in front of you stopped at the same light. So just slow it down. Take an easy pace. Something kind of funny happened in the movie world last night, and I was watching this play out. Then I had to go to bed, so I caught up on it this morning. But a lot of excitement over the movie. There's 2 new movies in Logan this week you can catch at the Megaplex theaters. The first we'll be talking about with Andy. He saw this. He didn't expect to like this because he didn't care for the first one. I kind of liked the first one. It wasn't a huge hit, but Tom Hardy in Venom was the first movie several years ago, and I kind of thought it was fun. It didn't do well at the box office. Fans of the comic book superhero genre weren't greatly impressed, although it does have a pretty big cult following and defender base. But it got a sequel. I didn't know this was coming. I'd heard nothing about it. And suddenly here it is. It's called Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Despite the title, it's rated only PG-13. It's about 2 hours long. And it stars, again, Tom Hardy, who I recently watched Mad Max Fury Road. And, man, he's a good actor. But Tom Hardy returns in this big screen production of the Venom sequel. And if you're not familiar with the plot line of this, Venom is a good guy and is from the Marvel universe. Although Venom is one of the few Marvel characters that doesn't really that much intertwine with the rest of the Marvel universe in the comics. I don't know if there's a plan to change that in the films. Probably not, considering this is one of the least popular films in the Marvel universe, that first one at least. But the second one, Andy liked it. I'm just going to spoil that right off the bat. Andy said he was pleasantly surprised by this movie, so we'll be talking about that. The other movie we're going to talk about, The Many Saints of Newark. This is the Sopranos film everyone has been waiting for. Every Sopranos fan has been waiting for years. And it was supposed to drop on HBO Max last night. HBO pulled a sly one on everybody, though, and the Twitterverse was really, really upset. The Many Saints of Newark, we'll be talking about that as well. It's a special extended For the People movie show with Andy Morgan of AndyAtTheMovies.com, and we'll get things rolling with Andy here in the studio now, right after this.
Even though the weather's grown colder, you still have time to have your fruit trees pruned. Logan Extermination says your trees need to be trimmed back in order to achieve success next year. And this is the first step to a bountiful harvest. However, you could do more bad than good if you don't know what you're doing. Save the headache and call Logan Extermination today and get a jump on tree pruning. Prices will vary depending on your needs. Logan Extermination, 752-8450.
Hi, this is Drew Allen with Allen Mortuaries. Over the years, thousands of families have planned ahead with Allen Mortuaries. Planning ahead helps you make informed and thoughtful decisions. It also spares your family the stress of making these decisions under the pressure of time and strong emotions. Allen Mortuaries' secure pre-need trust plan can save you nearly 40% versus other plans. Keep it simple, safe, and secure. Go with the proven choice, Allen Mortuaries. Voted best funeral home in Cache Valley in northern Utah. Allen Mortuaries. Then, now, always.
Oh, little piggy! Let me in or I'll blow this building down!
Nice try, Wolfie, but this here building's made from steel.
All right then, here goes! Gosh, that didn't work.
A building from Northern Steel Buildings will keep out the big bad wolf, and they don't break the piggy bank. Visit northernsteelbuildings.com to see their quality work or call 435-677-7300. Northern Steel Buildings. Value from concept to construction.
Procrastination isn't a valid retirement strategy. If your saving for a retirement approach involves the phrase, "I'll get around to it someday," it's time to make someday into today. Edward Jones can help. Contact your local Edward Jones financial advisor to get started today. Visit edwardjones.com or stop by your local Edward Jones office. When it comes to meeting your retirement goals, time can be on your side, and there's no better time than now. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
I'm just so broke you won't believe. Can't get $1 out of me. And as far as I can see, I'm losing control.
Welcome back to the For the People movie show with Andy Morgan of AndyAtTheMovies.com. Little shout out here to Alex Boyer, who performed in Cache Valley last night. I was already a fan. He's the nicest guy. He's got the most compelling story, and he's popular here in Utah, obviously. But he said something last night about me. So he was on our show yesterday for Wednesday ahead of a special event for first responders that he came in a night early to do, and then last night he performed at the Cache County Fairgrounds as part of this Ignite the Light suicide awareness and prevention concert and event. And so a family friend attended the event and mentioned to Mr. Boyer that he knew me. And Mr. Boyer said, Alex Boyer said to this friend of the family, He was the nicest guy and probably the most fun I've had being interviewed by someone ever. And I don't know if he said that just to be nice and or because he knew he was talking to someone who knew me, or if he, I would assume, knowing Alex Boye, he meant it. Anyway, so I'm putting that on a T-shirt. And
I'll buy one.
Well, I'd give them away free. They'd be for free, but oh man! So I have to tell this story quick before you get too excited to everything you want to talk about, because I thought this was so funny. So HBO Max in the past has dropped when movies. So for those not familiar, this thing that's happening right now, and it's a little controversial in Hollywood, at least. In fact, there's been talk of lawsuits. The big production companies, the distribution companies, make these deals with HBO Max, so the movie hits theaters and HBO Max at the same time, but only for a few weeks usually. Yeah. Like Cry. Oh, sorry, I turned your mic off.
It's for usually about 30 days.
And Cry Macho, for example,
and you have to have premium.
Yeah, you have to be.
It can't be like an ad version.
Yeah, you can, and it depends on your cable provider, but some. You get HBO Max with HBO if you already subscribe. Some you don't. You'll have to check on that each individual. But yeah, so HBO Max, $14 a month, something like that, and everything that's on HBO plus some other original stuff and exclusive stuff. And then the biggest draw for HBO Max, these movies that are hitting at the same time they're in theaters. So with Cry Macho, you could watch it Thursday night. When it hit theaters, a few weeks ago.
So technically, we should probably elaborate on this a little bit. So if it's showing on a lot of times theaters will show them the night before, right? So yesterday Venom. If you wanted to see Venom 2, you could go to the theater Thursday night and see an evening show before technically the release date the next day. But on HBO Max, to your point, if you wanted to see Cry Macho. It'll hit HBO Max at 1 a.m. Or I guess not 1 a.m. What is it?
Well,
it doesn't go to can't see it in theaters until the day of, so Friday. So if you wanted to see Cry Macho last Thursday, there was no options except for waiting for the clock to strike 12:01.
Yeah,
and then at a.m. or Friday at the theater.
Well, so the funny thing that happened, so fans or HBO Max users, subscribers knew that, and so Twitter was just alive heading up to midnight last night. I stayed up.
Sopranos.
Yeah, for the Many Saints of Newark. This is a long-awaited Sopranos movie. Not what fans expected, I think, but obviously James Gandolfini passed away. Fans had always wanted a full-on Sopranos movie without any constraints of a 1 hour or a 40-minute episode time, and then James Gandolfini dies, and that's basically scrapped at that point. But the writer, I forget his name, decided he still wanted to make a Sopranos movie, and so they decided to do this prequel of basically Tony Soprano as a teenager.
With Alan Taylor, longtime HBO director.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did Sopranos. He did, what was the one with the family that owned the funeral home? Do you remember what I'm talking about? I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah. What was that?
Better Off Dead. No, that wasn't it.
No, but that's a funny
You know
movie.
what I'm talking about. And then he also, Taylor actually
buried
did.
movies. But very funny.
Taylor actually did some Game of Thrones early, too. Because that was the thing, right?
Wow.
If you had a guy that worked at HBO and he knew how to direct, and he had some success, it didn't matter.
And that person was the guy.
It didn't matter if he went from Sex and the City to Game of Thrones.
What you doing this week?
Yeah, they were like, "Hey, look, we know what HBO likes. Throw this guy in there." Until he was like Alan Taylor's like the training wheels, basically.
Well, this excitement for this movie has been building, and last night I was watching on Twitter. I was planning to go to bed about 11, and then I started to see this, and I thought, well, I'm going to stay up and see what some of the early reaction is to it, because somebody out there is going to start it, and 10 minutes in start tweeting about it.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I don't want to spoil it for myself. I plan to see it, but I want to see that first reaction. So I decided to wait until midnight, and at midnight I started seeing all these tweets that were basically along the lines of, what
is going on?
Hey, HBO, hello. And So HBO, I don't know if they did this on purpose or what, but they did.
Was that at midnight?
It was at midnight our time when this happened, but HBO actually didn't plan to release this until 3 a.m. Eastern.
So
1 a.m. our time. And so it's an hour behind when they've done every other premiere, and now everybody's upset about that. Why did they wait an hour?
I actually wonder. So I'm gonna throw a wrench into this. I actually wonder if that's been happening and people just haven't paid attention. Because when I went to go watch,
that was my question.
When I went to go watch, I think it was Suicide Squad, or maybe it was a movie before that. I went at 12:01 and turned on HBO Max, and I was like, "Yo, where's the movie?" And it was an hour later. And so I think what it has to do, Jason, is I think no matter where you live in the country, it has to be 12:01 Pacific time before before it's on HBO Max, because that's
that sort of made sense to me.
They don't really care about Hawaii or Alaska, but I think it's 12:01 Pacific time. The movie will start.
So basically,
playing.
when the last time zone
so if
to
you're
hit midnight hits midnight.
Yeah, if you're on the
that's
East
what
Coast,
made sense to me.
You're like, I don't like this.
Well, it made sense to me because
forget about it.
That would be, otherwise everyone in California is going to get to see it at 11 o'clock.
Right.
And yet, but somehow the message didn't get out, and so people were convinced.
Yeah,
it was going to. 12:01, they were going to start this.
This must be the apocalypse.
Group watch parties had been planned, everything. And it didn't come until 1:01 a.m. our time, and it was honestly, I usually don't enjoy watching others suffer, but with something this trivial that's obviously not going to ruin. It was hilarious to watch. They were angry about this, but
I get it. We're in some strange times. I mean, I hear this all the time. People were like, well, so here's the two things I hear mainly with movie releases right now is, one, I hear there's a group of people, this is like politics. There's one group on one side and they're like, hey man, when's this movie coming out? And I'm like, it'll be this time. Why? They delayed it again. You know what? I don't even want to see it anymore. Really? They just moving it made you not want to see it? Like, you just gave up? Like, I'm done.
I mean,
Top Gun's not till the summer? I'm not even going to watch it now.
I don't care now.
Yeah, I don't get it. And then the other side of that is that people, the other side are people are like, hey man, where can I watch Venom on Venom 2 on Amazon? I'm like, nope. Why not? I do not know.
Well,
I don't make the rules.
It is strange that they on that note specifically. It is strange that there isn't more coordination on that front. You'd think that someone somewhere would be like, "Hey, we've got the sequel coming out.
Yeah.
So let's make sure that the first one is widely available," and they rarely do that.
And I hear, and here's the
because I thought that I'm going to go watch the original
There's
Venom.
So many things that are messed up right now in the world with movies, with like here's an example.
It almost seems like they don't understand how people watch movies.
I don't think it's that. I just think COVID has just basically sent the world. And not just from movies, but we're talking like manufacturing. I mean, we talked about this, the shortages on things. You go to the other day, I went through Chugg's in Logan, and I got my special drink I always got, and they handed it to me in this plain white styrofoam cup, which I don't care, but
Sure.
they have a cup shortage, and then I stuck it in my cup holder, and it erupted. I was like, aw, come on. Like, I was driving around with a cup holder of 32 ounces of Diet Coke. So my point is like everyone's suffering, and here's a good example too. Going back to Venom, Donovan Mitchell, who is the star of the Utah Jazz, he has a shoe deal with Adidas. He has his own signature shoe.
Oh yeah,
and
it's a cool shoe too.
Yeah, and one of his things is he's like he's a big fan of Marvel and specifically Spider-Man, right? Which kind of ties into his name, Spida Mitchell.
Spida.
And so his first shoe, there was a kind of a Spider-Man red and blue colorway. And then he had these ones that he'd wear that were black and pink with like kind of these like really jagged teeth, and that was like the Venom colorway, right? And so there's been a Venom colorway every shoe release. So he's got the Dawn issue 3 that just came out I think a few months ago, back in the summer, and people had seen him on the court with both a Carnage colorway and also a Venom colorway of his signature shoe. So a lot of Jazz fans are like, yes, I cannot wait. Marvel Jazz fans, these guys crossover. But because the studio was like, this movie comes out at this time. And Adidas was like, good to know. And then they're like, just kidding. It's this time. And Adidas was like, all right, well, I think we can do this one more time. And then now they're just like, okay, whatever. So those shoes are released in grade school sizes overseas, but it'll never make it to an adult full-size run here in the United States because everything is just out of whack. We'll get back to the point.
Yeah.
We are going to get back to that point. But
it just seems like with movies where they're distributing one product. I get, all these supply chain disruptions.
But it's not even that.
Your Maverick cups look weird right now.
What is this?
What is this? This is strange and different. But a movie, it just seems.
I think there's so many hands in the piggy bank on movies.
That's what I wonder too, and I wonder if the plethora of streaming options is also complicating this.
Well, think about this,
because I know it's complicating. I get a text from my. I have a.
I know where you're going to go.
I have a
with
bank
this.
account that I use just for the online subscriptions, and I get a text every time something charges to that card.
You're like, man, I have a lot of online subscriptions,
and it never fails. Like once a month, I get a text. I'm like, oh yeah, I have that.
Yeah, that's another thing.
It's too many, and no, Peacock, I'm not. I'm watching the ads. I'm fine with ads in my Office episodes.
Going back to politics, that's the libertarian view of streaming. I always have one person that's like, why don't they just all get together and make one? And I'm like, it's not how it works.
No, but I do think there is a little bit of wisdom in that, because I love making fun of NBC's Peacock, because that is an example to me of a really dumb decision. They have a lot of content, but they have a lot of content in the sense that, man, a partnership with Hulu or Netflix or Amazon Prime would be really great. They don't have enough content to warrant millions of individual subscriptions. And they're hoping The Office is enough. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I think.
And Yellowstone.
Well, and then obviously, I can't. Is Friends still on? Is Friends on Peacock, or is that somewhere else?
I think that is on Peacock, actually.
I think the point is there's every streaming. So this is what you're getting at now. Is it used to be Netflix? Netflix was the thing.
Yeah.
And then you had Amazon Prime, and then Hulu and all these things. Every streaming station is going to have one or two things
that draws
that's gonna bring you in. And so for Peacock, I mean, they have all those old Seinfeld, Office, Friends. I mean, anything that's ER. I mean, that's all there. And then you've got on and we don't have to go through all the list, but the point is it does. Like we've talked about this on the show multiple times, where I've said sometimes I'll sit down at night and I'll be like, nothing to do, a little bit relaxed, let's watch something. And then I'll be like, well, let's see what's on Amazon. And then I'm like, I spend 15 minutes or more going through my watch list, and then I'm like, well, maybe let's check out. And then by the time that I blink, it's been 45 minutes, and I've gone through 6 watch lists, and I'm like, I just don't. You know what? I'll just watch Jaws.
That exact thing happened to me this week. I ended up watching Jaws 1 and 2 because I looked through, what
you're overwhelmed.
Yeah, and I'm halfway through a million different different series on Netflix and Amazon Prime, and I do like The Boys. Yeah. I loved that, and I burned through season 1 really fast, and then I got to episode 4 of season 2. Life got really busy,
and you forget about it.
And I just haven't. Yeah,
that was the same. I was that way with Ted Lasso. I started watching on Apple TV back in the spring or fall, summer, season 1, and it had already been out for a while. And I watched it, and I watched about 3 or 4 episodes, and I was like, I really like this. But then I had other things to do. And so I didn't get back to it. Everyone else is like, oh, it's so great. And I'm like, I bet it is. You forget, right? You plus there's the whole binging thing, right? I think that's what people relate to when they think of streaming. They don't think of, well, I guess I'll watch this show next Sunday, right? Like how Game of Thrones was on HBO, or really anything that's not, where they don't drop all 20 episodes at one time.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where I am. So I think a lot of, especially, I'm going to be kind of mean here, but especially like the kind of millennials, like this, like sort of like 17 to, I don't know, 25, 20. Yeah, kids, get off my lawn.
Kids these days.
I really think that group, they're discovering all this content that, that you and I
I've seen
kind of grew up with.
I've seen the
I've
seen the "Have you seen Friends" TikTok. These children,
it's
these teenagers that are like, I just discovered the coolest show.
I always think of the line in Captain America: Civil War, where Peter Parker, Spider-Man, says, "You guys ever heard of this really old movie called Empire Strikes Back?"
That kind of hurts when you see that, because you're like, well, it is old.
But that's what they're like. I see these TikToks where they're like 10 scary movies you've never seen, and I'm like, dude, I've seen every one of those.
I own 7 of
those. Not because I'm some prolific, proficient.
No, because that was popular back in the day.
I guess I'm old. I don't know, but going back to it, I think you and I talked about this. We could go back a year ago to our whatever you want to call it, our shows the same time last year, and I guarantee that at some point, I think I said I think it'll be a year. It'll be a year, and I'm going to say this same thing right now. Is you will continue to see some weirdness in the entertainment industry, especially the movies. Probably for, I would think, another, I'm going to say 8 to 12 months. And the reason I say that is
something to look forward
you're
to.
not going to see, I don't think you're going to see as many delays as you did the last year and 18 to 20 months. But I think, I just think at this point studios are like, well, there's not, like we can't put this movie that we filmed 3 years ago out in 2026. Like, it's just, we can't do it. So I think
it's going to be weird.
Yeah, and that's where it goes down to is it's how much people stand to lose a lot of money. Not only studios, but I mean theater chains.
Trying to maximize
that's their lifeblood, So they're always going to be anti-streaming.
And they had a tough 18 months.
So I'd much rather see a movie in the theaters, even though when they're jerks and rude people.
There's something
about it.
There's some you have to see in theaters, I think.
But I have a big surprise. I know you teased it earlier on the show, but man, something I never thought.
We're late for the news, but I'm excited for this. You've got a surprise. I didn't think you'd like this. We're going to be talking about Venom,
I did not either.
Let There Be Carnage, the sequel to the underwhelming first movie. Right after this here on the For the People movie show. First, a look at the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Jason, KBNU News, brought to you by Mount Logan Laundry. The Utah Supreme Court has tossed out a lawsuit filed by a Republican candidate trying to overturn the victory of a Navajo commissioner in a county dogged by allegations of discrimination against Navajo voters. Kelly Laws filed a lawsuit in January 2019 after losing the race to Democrat Willie Gray Eyes in San Juan County. He claimed that Gray Eyes was not truly a Utah resident. The High Court ruled Thursday that Laws did not have standing to challenge his victory. Laws' attorney, Peter Sturba, did not immediately return messages seeking comment. A fallen soldier returned home Thursday accompanied by members of the 19th Special Forces Group of the Utah National Guard, of which he was a member. A dignified transfer of the remains of Staff Sergeant Lincoln Olmstead was conducted by members of Bravo Company, 1st Battalion, 19th Special Forces Group Airborne, Utah National Guard at the Salt Lake City International Airport. Olmstead died September 23rd while participating in training exercises in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Officials said Olmstead said he was taking part in a surface swim when he failed to resurface. Members of Olmstead's team escorted Olmstead back to Utah so he could be buried in his hometown of Spring City. Major General Michael Turley, Adjutant General of the Utah National Guard, said they sincerely appreciate the outpouring of love and support to Lincoln's family, friends, and teammates during this difficult time. And Idaho Lieutenant Governor Janice McGeachin has made public a collection of documents to journalists shortly after a judge again ordered her to reveal the records. The public records released on Thursday included feedback from the public regarding her newly created Education Task Force. It was tasked with investigating alleged indoctrination in the state's public school system, something McGeachin said was necessary to protect young people from critical race theory, socialism, communism, and Marxism. The Idaho Press Club sued for the records earlier this year. A judge last month found McGeachin wrongly denied the journalists access to the public documents. KVNU weather brought to you by Roof Rescue. Their experienced roofing team is tried and true and will fix your roof guaranteed. Visit roofrescueusa.com to schedule your free roof inspection. roofrescueusa.com. Roof Rescue, providing watertight peace of mind. Partly cloudy tonight, patchy frost after midnight, overnight low in the lower 30s, and then partly cloudy, then clearing on Saturday. High temperature in the lower 70s. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
Hey, get prepared for the hunting season. Did you remember to bring your hunting gear, your sleeping bags, and coats into Mount Logan Laundry? With their 55 and 80-pound washers and dryers, they can do any job. And while you're at it, bring in the comforters and blankets and get ready for the colder months ahead. Try Mount Logan Laundry. For a few quarters, you can use their large-capacity washers and dryers and be done in no time. Free Wi-Fi and drop-off service. They're at the corner of 5th East and 9th North in Logan, or in Brigham on the corner of 1st East and 7th South. Mount Logan Laundry really is the cleanest spot in town.
This is Ted Karen with Edward Jones Investments in Smithfield, bringing you the daily financial market report for Friday, October 1st. Stocks rebounded Friday, kicking off the fourth quarter with value-style stocks leading the gainers. The S&P was up 50 points, the Dow up 484, and the NASDAQ up 118 on Friday. The promise of a COVID-19 antiviral pill from Merck seems to have brightened investor sentiment for future growth and demand for travel, with the energy sector up more than 3%. U.S. Treasury bond yields were down, with the 10-year rate falling to 1.47%, even as the data released points to a sustained increase in inflation. The core PCE, or Personal Consumption Index, was up 3.6% from a year ago in August and increased 0.3% from a month ago. This was slightly higher but largely in line with expected numbers. The core PCE is a closely watched measure by the Fed, as it excludes the more volatile elements of food and energy. This was the highest level of record since May of 1991. The increase in prices has largely been driven by strong consumer demand and continued supply chain shortages and disruptions, including a chip shortage that has sent the price of cars and electronics higher. In commodity markets on Friday, oil was up 67 cents at $75.70 a barrel, and gold was up $2 to $1,759 an ounce. This has been today's financial market report, brought to you by Ted Karen with Edward Jones, member SIPC, serving individual investors with personalized attention and financial advice. If you'd like additional information, please visit our website at edwardjones.com or contact any of the 7 offices in Cache Valley, in Providence, Logan, and Smithfield.
If you have a Jeep already, there's a really good chance the only car you'll ever drive is a Jeep. So when someone talks about changing colors in the fall, all you hear is, I need to get a new red Jeep to replace my black one. Well, we've got all you Jeep insiders and you Jeep first-timers covered during the Jeep Adventure Days at Heritage. For starters, consider $2,250 cash allowance plus $500 bonus cash on select 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokees. You'll love Heritage Auto, your hometown dealer with the biggest deals.
100 years! Al Sporting Goods is the oldest full-line sporting goods store in the state of Utah. 100 years old. If you've skied it, rode it, wore it, thrown it, paddled it, casted it, cooked on it, drank it, shot it, kicked it, ran on it, or climbed it, you've shopped at Al Sporting Goods in the past 100 years. Every sport, every season is not just a slogan. Don't miss Al Sporting Goods 100-year anniversary celebration. Al Sporting Goods. Every sport, every season. Sale ends Saturday.
Attention all USU football fans. Join us this Friday at Maverick Stadium for an Aggie blackout game. You don't want to miss this week's game as our USU Aggies take on BYU. Don't forget to stop by the USU campus store to get your 2021 blackout shirts, hoodies, hats, jackets, and more. Wear black and bleed blue as we show our Aggie pride and cheer on our team. Parking validation available with $10 campus store purchase. Make the USU campus store your one-stop shop for all Aggie gear. Go Aggies!
Feeling my way through the darkness, guided by a beating
Welcome back to the For the People movie show with Andy Morgan of AndyAtTheMovies.com.
That is me.
That is him. And I love it when this happens. I usually get a little preview of this because I see Andy's post seeing the film reaction Thursday nights or Wednesday nights on social media. And so I know, a little bit
socials.
Of what's going to happen when he comes into the studio. But this one, Andy, last night you put something on the socials that legitimately surprised me because I had just learned this movie was even a thing.
Yeah.
And I was surprised learning that because the first one was, I think the first one made its money back, but it wasn't a hit for a Marvel Universe.
It was
movie.
A worldwide hit, and that's something that we have to start thinking about a little bit more. I do, especially, is Venom from a domestic standpoint didn't do very well. It did. I'm almost 100% sure that its predecessor, or let me back up. The
But I'll be honest,
the first Venom, I should say, Venom. Yeah, you know what I think is weird is people. I know so you have a group of folks that they get into the comics, and they know what's in the comics, and then there's people that they have like an impression of what they see based on what's in the movies. And the first time we ever saw Venom in the movies was Spider-Man 3, and that was like he got a few drops of black goo. And then his suit changed color, and you were like, "Ooh, Spider-Man in the black suit, that's cool." But then Eddie Brock, right, who was played by I can't remember his name at the time, but Topher Grace. He turns into like an actual alien creature, right?
I completely forgot about the Topher Grace. Yeah.
So there's a couple things. So going back to Tom Hardy's a great actor. I heard you were talking about this earlier.
I don't know what it is, but because I was thinking about this with Mad Max Fury Road, he doesn't say anything or really do anything.
It's just kind of,
but he makes
it's his presence.
He kind of makes the movie.
Yeah, he does.
And have you seen the one where he plays twins?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great.
I know that was a box office flop, but that's a great movie.
Well, and so going back to the Venom that came out in 2018, that had 30% on the tomato meter.
Wow!
And here's the thing: when I quote Rotten Tomatoes, I don't quote it because I think it's the gospel Bible of movie ratings, whatever. It's a barometer of some sorts. But go through the list of critics in there, right? And that's the thing that disappoints me is, and I've said this a million times, and if you're a critic and you think something different and you want to fight me on the show, let's go. I will duke it out with you all day long.
Bring it.
My problem is I consider myself a critic, but I'm also a normal person. Like I don't go around to film festivals with my beret on and and have
you see movies like the average
Martin Scorsese,
Joe or Jane does.
That's how everyone should see it.
But I think that's what makes you a good critic, because you're not approaching this in a way that is not. And I know some people who like that. I know people who do like to turn to the critic.
Just don't be
the critic at the New Yorker.
There's like, Anthony Lane is a little
Anthony
bit of a
Lane,
snob,
but an intentional snob. Like he is hired to be a snob because he's writing for the New Yorker,
and that's the hard.
And I know
thing.
people that like that, but
and that's the hard thing today is there's so many reaction pieces. That people write to get a reaction and clickbait. That I think what we run into is it's hard to kind of parse who's doing it because they're sincere and who's doing it because they're just a jerk.
Yeah.
Or either way.
That's a really good way to put that.
You also get polarized, fan bases. You get fans of Marvel that are like, Marvel can't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
I think you have to because I go of the opinion of like what you like. Like if you came to me, Jason, and you said, you know what, Andy, I think that Venom is one of my favorite movies of all time. That's fine. And you know what? You're not wrong. Yeah. And if I said, Jason, no, that's the worst movie that's ever been made, that's my opinion either. With art and things like that, I just let people like what they like.
Yeah.
My only problem is when I want to fight back is when I have people that are condescending. Like, if you like Venom, you are a stupid moron, right?
That's
that kind of stuff. I don't like that.
And the thing is there's really no place for that because the movies are different. everyone has seen something they liked and none of their friends did.
Right, exactly.
Everyone has. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I know there are movies that I'm actually I'm a defender of The Abyss with Ed Harris.
Yeah,
and that's a popular movie to mock. Well, but I think I can watch that movie over and over and over, and every time I know they're going to revive her in that little scene. But
sometimes you can change your opinion too, because here's an example. I remember seeing Batman Begins in the theaters, and I just thought, I don't know how much I love that.
Yeah.
When it came out on DVD...
I was underwhelmed by the villain.
Yeah. When I came out on DVD, I went, why did I not like this?
Yeah.
Anyway...
I remember having that same reaction. Mine was actually after The Dark Knight came out.
Oh, interesting.
So I didn't really... Batman Begins, I enjoyed seeing it, but I wasn't thinking, this is the Batman revival we've all been waiting for. I thought this is going to, it's just not my thing. And then The Dark Knight comes out, I see that, and that's not one of my favorite trilogies. I can watch any of those three over and over.
Well, and here's the thing that is confusing to me, right? Is I see Venom come out, I see the trailer, and my first thought was, this looks super silly. Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm having such a hard time here. I see Tom Hardy, who I know is a great actor, but I also see this like giant alien hybrid, and it's talking like like a comedic character, like, hey man, you know, something like that. And then I look at the other cast list and I think, okay, wait a minute. Does this really have Riz Ahmed and Michelle Williams in it? You know what I mean? And it's it's directed by Ruben Fleischer. This is the 2018 one. I'm thinking, it's directed by Ruben Fleischer. And I'm thinking to myself, okay. He did Zombieland. This could be good.
Okay.
The problem with Venom, the first Venom, and I went back and rewatched this after seeing Venom, Let There Be Carnage the other night. And here's where it comes down to is sometimes movies just don't know what they want to be, and they're too long, and they try to stuff too much into, I think the first Venom was almost 2 hours, and
really?
And they couldn't decide, do we want to be serious, or do we want to have, is it funny, is this kind of tongue in cheek? And so here's the cool thing. So with Venom, Let There Be Carnage, you get a different director, and believe it or not, folks, Andy Serkis, the gentleman that played Gollum in the Lord of the Rings trilogy and in the Hobbit trilogy, is actually the director.
Really?
Of Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
Really? I had no idea.
They trimmed off 40 minutes. 35 minutes. It's an hour and 26 minutes. You get in and you get out. And I can tell you right now, I didn't remember too much about Venom, the 2018.
Yeah.
Everybody from the cast is back. Michelle Williams is back. Tom Hardy. That you add into this Naomi Harris and Stephen Graham, and also Woody Harrelson. So it's a fairly decent cast. I mean, Stephen Graham, not a household name, but he's in a lot of mafia movies. He was in. He played Al Capone in Boardwalk Empire. He was in. What's the Martin Scorsese long boring movie with airbrushed Robert De Niro, The Irishman. Woody Harrelson, who I think is Woody Harrelson 80 now? Because I'm not.
He's getting up there. He looks.
Sometimes your hair gets too gray and thin, and when you dye it, you go, "No, that's not right."
He looks like Zombieland took a lot out of him.
Yeah. But this movie is so quick and so punchy, and it is so funny.
Really?
There was some moments in the movie where I legitimately laughed out loud. Like
that's what they should have done with the first one.
Yeah, it is. And so I went back and watched the first. The first, I have a little more sympathy for it. It's not. I still don't think it's. I'd still probably give it a C+. Right? This movie, I can't help but not get. I mean, I will get mocked
for liking it.
You know what I mean? The most critics, it's 60%. It was fresh yesterday. It's now rotten because far be it that you like a movie that doesn't have a festival run. But this is 85. The audiences love it. It's 85% audience score. So, and I'm going to go farther. You ready? I'm going to go farther. I give this flat out A.
Really?
Fun, fun movie. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Very cool.
I'd go back and see it in theaters.
And it is in theaters, playing at both the Megaplex theaters here in Logan starting today. Venom, Bring on the Carnage?
Let there be carnage.
Let there be carnage.
But Bring on the Carnage. That
works too.
That's the cheerleading crossover movie.
The For the People movie show continues into hour 2 of today's show right after this here on KVNU Logan.